In our last session, I talked at some length about the word sin and about how it is misunderstood and misused, and perhaps some better ways to think about that word. Now, going straight from the word sin, we need to move on also for a consideration of the word redemption. Now, redemption is, I looked it up in my Episcopal dictionary just to see what they said about that term, and they say immediately, see Redeemer. So Redeemer is described in here, in this dictionary, as one who pays a price to buy back something, to liberate a person or a people from bondage, or to save a life that was legally forfeited. That tries to cover all the bases, and this concept of redemption by our Lord Jesus Christ is one that is extremely difficult to explain to any satisfaction, because if you use these definitions or these descriptions, then I think the question would be, why would God set it up that way, if God is all-powerful, that someone who is innocent needs to be sacrificed in order for us to be redeemed? And I think of redemption, of what Jesus did for us as the Redeemer. I think of it as the ultimate example of obedience to God in the name of love. So when we think about what did Jesus do for us in his sacrifice, we may want to use words like ransom, atonement, price, all of these things. But I think, in a sense, example is the best word, because what he did was to show us by living, in a sense, an ordinary human life with all of its suffering, its problems of hunger, no place to sleep, fatigue, all of those things that we face. He lived that human mortal life, and he even endured torture and persecution, torture, and death in the name of living that entire human life without yielding to hate, with yielding only to love. And one of my mentors has always said, when I said, tell me how to explain Jesus as the Redeemer, or the redemption, or this whole sacrifice. This sacrifice is even, I think, a shaky word for us to use, because it leads us down some paths of innocent sacrifice in the name of the guilty. But he always said that his explanation of the redemption of what Jesus did was that he looked at the people who were nailing him to the cross and said to them, though you would kill me, I love you still. So I think of redemption as being this example that Jesus has given us, that we can live in eternity, that we are immortal, that we will be resurrected with him if we can sustain this belief in an eternal loving God to the point of loving even those who would hurt us. Now, how does that redeem anything? It tells us that when we go through something in human life, whether it is intentional at the hands of someone else, or whether it is just the suffering that mortal human beings will go through, if we can remember to focus on love, then we are, in a sense, able to rise above those things that are happening to us that are so painful. We have a chance to get saved, is a way, redeemed from that suffering, from the despair that it might cause. If we know that Jesus went through this life and went all the way literally to the end of it and held on to love at the very end, if we can do that in our difficult circumstances, we have, in a sense, already been redeemed from the suffering of this life.